welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. It's not Monday. I repeat, not Monday. It's a wide open Wednesday. Where's Mr. Drew Brees, by the way? No welcome back, Cotter. No sweat hogs. It is not Brooklyn. It is New Orleans. By the way, Brooklyn, 90 degrees in New York City. Manhattan, Brooklyn, the other three boroughs. Feels like 95 in New York. 90 degrees feels like 95. New Orleans, 78. Feels like 82. We'll take it. A little flip-flop or a little reversal. You think that would be New York City's temps? A scorcher in the Big Apple, 90 degrees, feels like 95. The Sweat Hogs, they are a sweating in Brooklyn right now because of some cloud cover, I guess. 78 degrees, feels like 82 in the metro for the time being. Boy, that's a lot nicer than what we were dealing with last week, huh? That was like 5-6 days straight of 97, 98, feels like $1.05, $1.06, $1.07, 108. One of those days we were like, feels like 110 plus. That's just crazy. That can't happen. It's hot and humid enough in New Orleans. We don't need those peak out gimmicks. That's for sure. Hey, happy 4th of July holiday. Mine went pretty darn well. The highlight, not the highlight, but one of the highlights, a lot less firecracker pyrotechnics, a lot less of that, it seemed like, in my neighborhood, where normally I get a lot of that right next door to my neighborhood. No, it was a good 4th of July extended weekend. Like I said, it's not Monday, it's Wednesday. Wide open Wednesday. Short week this week. Just a few days away from the weekend already. Essence Fest 2023 in the books. It apparently went off without a hitch, unless you were a local vendor. Then you got clocked in the head with a baseball bat by Essence Festival. This Essence Fest clean zone. Did you hear about this? Absolute insanity, especially to local vendors. This Essence clean zone, from what I understand, it went from like Earhart to Elysian Fields, Broad Street to the river. I mean, just a tremendous area, way beyond the footprint of the Superdome and the Convention Center, way beyond the French Quarter, the Marigny, the CBD, the Warehouse District, way beyond there, from like the river to Broad Street, Earhart to Elysian Fields. This Essence Clean Zone. Ask folks like Tamkia Newhouse or Delphine Legacy Media or Lit Diaries or Baldwin and Company. They were issued cease and desist letters by Essence, using Essence trademark to promote. Unbelievable. The Clean Zone thing just blows me away all by itself. Like Essence Festival needs protection. They've got the Superdome, they've got the Convention Center. They've got areas where you pay like $450 to rent a tent for 3 days. They're making all kinds of money all over the place. It's great for Essence. It's great for the city. Everyone's a big winner. That Essence doesn't choose New Orleans because it's a bad place for their festival. The opposite. They choose New Orleans because it's a great place for their festival. But this Essence Clean Zone, I don't think you will see this going down next year. Using the Essence trademark to promote their business. Essence Fest is in town. Just very strange. why even the point of a clean zone? We can talk about it. Love to get your take. Love to hear from some of those business owners like Baldwin and Company or Tamkia Newhouse or Delphine Legacy Media or Lit Diaries LLC. Any other business that may have received a cease and desist letter from Essence for using their trademark to promote. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines 504-766-9480. 766-9480. Tomorrow, an OPCD board meeting concerning Tyrell Morris, the executive director. That's the Orleans Parish Communications District. Some state lawmakers are going to attend. Representatives Freeman, Landry, Hilferty. Ahead of the meeting, the board meeting, one of the board members, Dr. Brobson Lutz, or Lutz. We all know Dr. Lutz on TV sometimes. Says Morris needs to go ahead of the meeting before the vote. Helena Marino, J.P. Morrell, letters to the Orleans Parish Communications District Board ahead of the meeting. This guy's got to go. The mayor doubling down. This guy's got to stay. He's such a vital, important part. And has to stay till September 15th. That is key. That September 15th date. Had a caller last week mention that date. What's the significance of September 15th? And I just took it simple. Like when I saw that would be the resignation date, 3 more months of salary. But the caller was insinuating, could it have something to do with like some full-blown retirement or something like that? Anyway, tomorrow the board will meet Tyrell Morris. We'll see if he is ousted or not. Altering documents, all kind of mischievous, just unorganized, shoot from the hip, no plan. Can't have that. Not with 311 service and more. A Metairie couple fights to keep their native plant garden. Sort of wildflowers in the yard. I guess some would say, especially when those wildflowers aren't in bloom, it looks like you just don't cut your grass. It's just weeds. They say it's their wildflower garden. Really a catch-22, a real tough situation on that. You know, there's sort of an expectation when you buy a home, when you own a piece of property in a neighborhood, but also at certain levels. It's socioeconomics. It's how much does your house cost? What type of neighborhood is it? How many square feet, does it cost to live in your neighborhood? How much does the average house cost? On and on and on, because that's when you get into things like, can you park a truck with the dually tires or stickers in that neighborhood overnight? Can you park a truck with ladders on it with a rack overnight? Can you park a school bus or a Mardi Gras float or an 18-wheeler truck in that neighborhood overnight? Is fencing uniform, or everyone can just build any kind of arbitrary fence? There's lots of different covenants and rules and regulations, even laws for neighborhoods. And it can get very picky, peculiar, interesting. And apparently this Metairie couple likes their native plant garden. A lot of people in the neighborhood think it's just weed and overgrown, and they're, hippies or something, cheap and tight and won't cut their grass, whatever. Interesting story, I thought, because of home ownership. Joey Chestnut downs a bunch of hot dogs. I think these food eating contests are disgusting, disrespectful to food and just human beings, just how much food we throw away in America, things of that nature, people starving still in the world, like clean your plate, there's starving children in Africa, that kind of thing when you were a kid. But beyond that, good, bad, right, wrong, disgusting, I think it's just totally gross, sick. Food eating contest is just something fundamentally wrong with it in my mind. Almost can't put my finger quite on it, just sort of touching the surface with what I just mentioned. Love to hear from you. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. 766-9480. Is it Buffa's? Is it Buffa's? They were talking about closing. Folks kind of, hey, oh gosh, don't close. Now they're staying open. I don't know. Unless you reinvent yourself, I think the closing is inevitable in the future when the threat of closing and the surge in business all of a sudden wears off. Hey, Councilman Scott Walker from Jefferson Parish joins us next. Major renovations, like a total redo, a major overhaul to Zephyr Field on the LaSalle tract out on Airline Drive in Metairie, brah. Scott Walker, Jefferson Parish Councilman, joins us next. Wide Open Wednesday.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOLAAC.com is your cool spot.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
A wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Corey Johnson back at you. You are on the neutral ground. Well, I got a good dinner suggestion for you. Lebanon's Cafe, Carrollton at Jeanette in Uptown by the Streetcar Barn. Some of the finest Middle Eastern food in Metro New Orleans. You can't go wrong at Lebanon's Cafe. Fresh, authentic, large portions, priced right. Lebanon's Cafe, Carrollton at Jeanette by the Streetcar Barn. Shish kebab, lamb chops, all your Middle Eastern favorites. Lebanon's Cafe in Uptown. Happy 4th of July extended holiday. Some of you are still on holiday. Nice. Taking the whole week. It is Wednesday, not Monday. Hey, Councilman Scott Walker from Jefferson Parish joins us live on the program. Scott, how you doing?
Good, Corey. How are you?
Doing well. Doing well. Do you still catch the... Dude, you were great in television and a star and had things rolling. You were a lead anchor. You traded that for politics? What were you thinking?
I actually traded that for private life, my PR firm, and a donut shop at the time, and politics came a year later. But that's part of the misconception. But look, TV gave me a good run, and it was great to me for a long time, but it was just time for a change, and I've never been happier. So I'm enjoying serving the people of Jefferson Parish and hope to continue doing it for a while longer.
Yeah, you summed it up pretty quickly. What was it, about 20 years of TV?
23.
Wow.
That's what I was keeping track.
That's a pretty good run. And then, yeah, you got out of television right away, had another plan, a media firm, a marketing firm, like an advertising agency type thing. And then this Shipley's Donut. Tell us about that move from stable television. Like I said, you were an entity. You were in a solid position. Anybody could get laid off at any time. We see that at ESPN, but you were kind of in the opposite position. You were one of those guys that was, no pun intended, an anchor. And you traded it off. Why?
Yeah, look, I never thought that I would do that forever. I knew it was a finite period of time that I was going to anchor local news. I never wanted to do it until I was in my 60s or beyond. So I knew there was an expiration date. I just didn't know when. And when my last contract was coming up, I kind of prepared myself to move on to the next thing and was very comfortable in leaving behind that TV salary and replacing it with the one that I was going to have in the PR firm. And along the way, opened up the donut shop, which I've since sold. In November of 21, coming out of COVID, it was a difficult time to be in food service, and still is. But something needed to come off my plate because I wasn't on the council when I had the donut shop open, and I was very busy. So the donuts literally had to come off my plate. And I still go there on Sundays and grab my donuts, but otherwise, I'm busy with the parish work and my PR firm.
Yep. Scott Walker's with us. Hey, Scott, before we get out of the television thing, kind of in your family, in your blood, right?
Yeah, look, my dad did radio for 40 years, 40 plus, and I went in the TV direction, and I don't regret doing it. I loved it. It was good for me, but I believe life is about different chapters and challenges, and each one leads to the next. And I just want to be able to look back at the end of this thing and say I took advantage of every opportunity that was presented to me and have no regrets. And so far, so good. I think I've been busier in the 5 years that I left TV than I ever was before that, but I'm happier than I've ever been as well. And that doesn't take anything away from my TV experience because I was happy in that as well. But just personally, professionally, everything is going very well, and it's a good, rewarding process. And serving Jefferson Parish has been more rewarding than I can put into words. It's politics, so it's messy sometimes, but the work that we do far outweighs the messiness of politics.
All right, I got that typical New Orleans question. Pure New Orleans. Where'd you go to high school?
Brother Martin, man, you knew. Come on.
The old Bromo. I know. I wanted you to say it. The Catholic Leaguer, De La Salle, Elysian Fields. Now, you got a few kids. I saw your son. He looks like a little athlete, man. Lean.
Yeah, he plays on the Brother Martin tennis team, and he'll be a senior this year, and I'll have an 8th grader there this year as well. So they'll have a year there together, and that's part of it, man. It all goes by so fast. I needed to have more time with them and work in TV. I was working till late at night every night. I needed to control my schedule and be in charge of my life and not have somebody else in charge of it anymore. And they were a big part of that decision making.
Now, for you, the family, The Rock is the agency you have going. You already have that thing taken off. It's very successful quickly. Because politics, you just never know. I'm on Twitter about a week ago or so. I see Scott Walker, re-election campaign. I'm like, what? You just won the thing. I mean, boy, time goes by quick. You're already running for re-election?
Yeah, it was a quick 4 years. When you have COVID, you have a worldwide pandemic, you have 2 major hurricanes, a couple of tornadoes, and some of the other things we dealt with. It kind of makes things go fast, I guess. But I feel like we lost a solid year and a half due to COVID, but we've made up over time, and I think we've still managed to get some good things done. And it's time to look at re-election, and then I'd like to ride off into the sunset. I never say never, but my initial intention was to do 8 years in this seat and then let somebody else come in and do it. Because I'm not a big fan of people wearing out their welcome in politics and being around forever.
Yeah, no, you know that from your media days. Hey, Scott, any key opponents right now, or you're alone in the race?
There's one announced opponent right now, but I'm continuing to do the job and continuing to focus on what I need to do to serve the people of Jefferson Parish, and don't really think about it because I'm in the job right now and I'm doing the job. So that's what I'll continue to do.
I wouldn't have wanted to have been the incumbent, even successful, when you ran last time, because still to this day, what I do, I'm still in the Stone Ages, fledgling YouTube channel. I probably need to hire you, seriously, and your crew. We may have to talk about that off the air. But your opponent had no chance against you because they were like me. Forget about what they did as a councilman, just social media savvy. They were like me, and you took social media as a slightly older person than like a 23-year-old that just naturally gravitates towards it. You took it, you embraced it, you ran with it, and you injected into that election. And I think that was the key to your victory. And I'm not taking anything away from what you stood for and what you plan to do as council person. I think that social media thing was a big edge for you.
Look, no doubt. And I said when I ran, I said I was going to use social media in elected office like it had never been used before. And I continue to do that. I think we've transformed the way that constituents can communicate with an elected official. And all I promise every day, I always say I try not to overpromise. So what I do promise every day is that I'll be reachable and responsive, and you'll hear from me or somebody in my office that day if you email us or give us a phone call, and we'll solve your problem. That's what we're here for. And I think too many people get lost in what they're supposed to do when they're in public office. And I've got one mission every day, and that's to do the best that I can for the people of Jefferson Parish. It sounds like a cliche, but it's the truth. And I really want to help. And I grew up here. I've lived most of my life here, and it's something that I want to continue to do because I truly care about Jefferson Parish and the people who live here.
We're visiting a few minutes with Councilman Scott Walker. Hey, Scott, in your 3.5 or so years as a councilman and about 1.5 years or 2 of Corona, which would bog things down for sure, what would you say was your biggest accomplishment, something you were trying to achieve that you achieved? It can be 1 or 2 things. And then another big accomplishment that came out of left field where some homeowner, some business owner, some Jefferson Parish constituent reached out to you for help and you solved their problem.
Well, first, I think the biggest thing that we've been able to do so far is generate about $2 million over the past few years for early childhood education in Jefferson Parish through the Jefferson Raise Start Network. I'm a big believer in if you don't get our youngest learners when they're at their most vulnerable age, so to speak, where they're in their most formative years, 0 to 4 years old, then they're going to be catching up forever. And if we want to one day look at Louisiana for more than football and get out of the shadows of our friends in Arkansas and Mississippi and Alabama, we need to do things today that'll help the next generation. So I think it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we're preparing the next generation of students, the next generation of leaders, CEOs, government officials, whatever it may be, to be the most successful they can be in Jefferson Parish. And the can's been kicked down the road for far too long. So what we've done through the council and the state's matching fund has created seats in Jefferson Parish for economically disadvantaged students that maybe wouldn't have those same opportunities as people with more resources. So my thinking is that your financial background should not be impacted. Your educational background should not be impacted by your financial background. So that's where we start. We lost a year to COVID. We've just kind of chipped away at the iceberg a little bit because there's a lot of work left to do. We need to raise some real dollars for that and get some public-private partnerships built. which we've gotten a couple of already. But that's the big thing. And one of the other things that we've been working on for a long time, part of the reason for this conversation, is what's going to happen at Zephyr Stadium this fall, the old Zephyr Stadium, and revitalizing that building and making it a contributing part of Jefferson Parish, whether it's high school football, events, concerts, rugby, soccer, whatever it may be. We want to make that building a centerpiece of the East Bank of Jefferson Parish and make sure that people use it and visit it and contribute to the sales tax revenue in Jefferson Parish is the bottom line.
Yep. Yeah, I was promoting Councilman Scott Walker coming on to discuss the major renovations, major overhaul to Zephyr Field. I definitely want to discuss that with you, Scott. Hey, before we get on to that, was there any setback, a month or so ago with those embarrassing school board meetings and just seemed like there was an agenda and politics and shut down this school, keep this school open, consolidate this school? Didn't seem fair, open, and objective and best interest to the school teachers, the students, the families. Seemed like there was an agenda and politics involved. Am I onto something or no?
Look, we have nothing to do with the school board, contrary to some popular belief out there, but I watched it just like anybody else, and I think some hard decisions needed to be made because the school system isn't in the shape that it once was with enrollment, just like we're looking at playgrounds around Jefferson Parish. The parish president has said if we had to do over again, we wouldn't have 30 or 28 playgrounds across Jefferson Parish. The numbers just don't support it anymore. So some difficult decisions had to be made, and some of those look political to some, and some may not look as political to others. I know the one that we've heard the most about is Haynes Academy being relocated to Grace King and what's going to happen with that Haynes property.
Yep. Hey, Scott, hang on one second. I don't mean to cut you off. You know how that break train works. We're going to knock a quick one out. Coming right back with Scott Walker.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today, and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe. In the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line, Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe. For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Corey Johnson with you, a wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Councilman Scott Walker, Jefferson Parish, with us for a few more minutes. Scott, I didn't mean to cut you off, but basically the school board meeting, and the school board has nothing to do with you and the council in Jefferson, not having any ill effects on your initiatives to improve education, make it more accessible to all in Jefferson Parish.
Yeah, and where I left off was the Haynes property. It'll only come to us for a decision if somebody wants to rezone it, which a developer will likely, or subdivide it or rezone it, which a developer will likely want to do.
Yep.
But our contention, at least most of the members of the council that I've heard speak publicly about it, the contention is that it's zoned R1A, which is single family residential, and it should probably stay that way.
Hey, Scott, major renovations, major overhaul to Zephyr Field. That was part of what? The Hilario Center, the Smoothie King Center. It was all part of that legislation. What is the stadium, about 25 years old or so? I mean, just normally, if you still had a minor league baseball team, it might be time to invest millions into the facility. But without a minor league baseball team, you guys are going in a totally new direction. And just the renderings I've seen look pretty darn good. Tell us what the thought process is and what you guys plan to do with Zephyr Field and why.
It's about jumpstarting a building that's just sat there dormant for way too long. It's the state's building, obviously, and they haven't maintained it the way that they should have over the years, and they'll admit that. The baseball lease prohibited the state from doing some of the upgrades and maintenance that they should have. But all that's behind us now. Now we just need to look forward and say, how can we make this a contributing part of Jefferson Parish again? So one of the things that we've done, well, let me back up. First thing we did was dedicate $15 million for the shrine, and then another $5 million for the Hilario Center for upgrades to modernize these facilities. The state is certainly going to help out their facility, and there could be some other money involved as well, depending on what tenants may be there. But right now, it's a blank slate, and one of those visions for what we want in there is high school football. It's a natural once the stadium is reconfigured from the baseball configuration to the more traditional rectangular football and soccer and rugby configuration, then it's going to be a real first-class facility with permanent visitor seating added and luxury box upgrades and more seats potentially. But the biggest thing would be to get those tenants in there, to drive people into the parking lot where there's easy parking. You don't have to walk 6 blocks at night and hope that your window is still intact when you get back to your car. It's right there. You're easy in and out. It's a fun family environment. It's in the middle of Jefferson Parish. And I think football is just the start. High school football is just the start. We can have concerts. We can have other events there. Whatever it may be, this building just needs to be back in service. It needs to be a multi-purpose facility, and these upgrades will help transform it into that.
So it will be transformed from, right now it is a minor league baseball park, right?
Right. That's what it is and what it's been. And until further notice, until the renovation and construction actually starts,
yep,
that's what it still is. But the vision, and if you've seen the renderings, you can kind of see what direction it's going in. It's impressive, and it's going to be a nice facility. It's cost prohibitive to knock it down and try to build another facility.
Yep.
But we we realize the ship has sailed on minor league baseball in Jefferson Parish. Is not going to be back. As much as many people have said, let's get it back. It's not going to happen. We've been told that by numerous people. Like, don't wait for a team to come back because it's not happening here. And some people say, what about USL, the soccer league that flirted with it for a bit, and what about the USFL? Well, the USL, the soccer league, is still looking at either the Shrine or a site in Jefferson and Orleans Parish. They haven't made a decision. They were supposed to do that last August, and they haven't done it yet. And we said, whether you guys come or not, we're renovating this stadium.
Yep.
If they come, some different upgrades would be made, and they would contribute to it. But the stadium is being upgraded anyway. And there is some interest from the USFL to have the New Orleans Breakers actually play their games in New Orleans instead of Birmingham. And if they want to be at the stadium, if they want to be at the Shrine, then certainly that would be available to them as well. But right now it's all about building a calendar, a yearly calendar, and high school football is part of that. The USFL would not conflict with high school football. Rugby wouldn't conflict with high school football. Soccer would be able to work its way in, and concerts could fill some other time. It's just about making this building a year-round place where people can go and experience different events in Jefferson Parish.
Scott, would there be any demolition at all to the existing facility? I mean, I love the idea. I love the renderings. One thing that was great about the renderings, you can't really tell it was once a minor league baseball stadium. I think that's key. You don't want to just, half and put some stands in an L shape on the opposite side and you're done. It's got to be, you want it to look like it was designed for football, soccer, rugby, lacrosse, and not minor league baseball. Is that the plan?
Yeah, definitely. And I think there would be some minor demo, so to speak, but not anything significant. Where you'd have to adjust some of the seating, and you'd have to adjust some of the seat configuration along with the first base and third base line, and bring some things closer and make it fit around the rectangular field instead of the baseball configuration as it is now.
Sure.
But no major demolition, just more upgrades and additions.
Now, you've got right now, I forget the original cost of the stadium. I think it was somewhere in the $20 to $30 million range back then.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't remember, but right. Today, what you have there now, that's $40, $50 million in construction. It's tens of millions of dollars. So I think that's a brilliant idea to keep the vast majority of what you have. It's solid. It's built well. It does not need to be destroyed. Yeah, just adding new to it, and just
it would cost north of $100 million for a new stadium, and that's not in the financial plans for Jefferson Parish at this time. But we can take what we have there and make it better and make it just as good as what a new stadium would be.
So you're talking about $15 million initially to start to get this job going?
15 to get us rolling, and the state has put 10 to 15. I forget the exact amount in priority 4 in the capital outlay budget, and that will hopefully be moved up next session. And LSED will play a part, and whatever potential tenant is there would play a part as well. So there are a lot of moving parts right now, but a lot of people have had a lot of conversations about the future of this building over the past year.
Yep.
And there's a lot of excitement about what's eventually going to be there.
Grass field, natural, or artificial, or am I getting into specifics that I'm kind of way ahead of myself?
I think the plan was artificial. I don't think that was set in stone, but I think to do everything that we wanted to do there, artificial turf was probably the answer, but I don't know if that's set in stone.
Is there any talks with Gail Benson? It just seems like a natural, Scott, where this could be the black and gold game venue. This could be part of Saints training camp when they bring in other teams, maybe. Lots of things with that stadium. When you have a enhanced practice, you're just walking across the street. You don't have to go to the Dome to do it, or Yeoman at Tulane, or you could still go to Tulane to go to that part of town, but it'd be nice right next door to the Saints training facility.
Yeah, look, the Saints are super excited about what could become the final product of that facility, and we've had conversations with them, and they're excited about potentially having scrimmages there, having practices there, playing the spring game there, doing whatever, not the spring game, the black and gold game, whatever they would like to do there, certainly as long as it works in with the schedule and how it works with them. We'd love to have the Saints be a part of this as well, and those conversations have been had, and it's right next to their facility, so it makes perfect sense.
Could you get like the Saints to maybe contribute? Do you get like the NOLA Gold Rugby to financially contribute? Are they a viable enough entity to do that? You mentioned this soccer team. They could contribute maybe before they move to a stadium on the river in Orleans Parish, or maybe they stay for good. You mentioned the USFL.
Yeah, I think anybody who has money to cough up for this stadium to make it,
we'll take
what we want it to be, we'll certainly listen to it. But I think any permanent tenant that would be in there would be part of the financial picture for the stadium.
And here's a final one for you, Scott. Could there be some, local company that, naming rights?
Yes, absolutely. So if anybody's listening and wants to slap their name on it, that's certainly something that everybody will entertain as well.
No, you could have the field have a naming right. You could have the stadium itself. Corey Johnson Field at Scott Walker Stadium, man.
Look, I don't have the money to put behind it. If you have the money to put behind it, let's go for it. If not, we'll find somebody who can put their name behind it. That there are a lot of names in town that make a lot of sense.
Yep.
To put on a stadium or to put on a field. It's just a matter of whether they are interested enough to come to the table. And I think what we're going to show there over the next year, it's pretty cool that with Curtis playing 7 games there this year and Jessup playing a couple, that we're going to be able to show a sneak preview again of what this building will be like when it's renovated. It'll kind of be a peek into the future. I know we've done it there before, but hopefully things will be different this time, where it feels a little more like a football stadium before the renovations are actually done, and we'll have a great fall this year.
Scott, always a pleasure. Any final thoughts till we do it again?
Appreciate the time, Corey, and just love being able to do these things for Jefferson Parish, and love being a part of this great place in this great state that we live in.
Scott, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That's Councilman Scott Walker, Jefferson Parish, joining us on the program, talking about major renovations, overhauls to Zephyr Field, and a bunch of other things going down in Jefferson Parish. Yeah, you right. A wide open Wednesday edition of the program. That means anything you'd like to discuss. 766-9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines to participate. 504-766-9480. Young's Dry Cleaning has been a part of New Orleans since 1940. That's before World War II started. 83 years of excellence. They take it seriously. 4 generations strong. Dale and Don will take care of you. The brothers over there at Young's Dry Cleaning, a New Orleans institution, walk-up locations, free pickup and delivery. They're manless locker locations. No one else has that. Dozens and dozens and dozens of manless locker locations, probably near where you live or work. To find out about the best dry cleaner, youngsdrycleaning.com, youngsdrycleaning.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com. Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
Yeah, you, right? Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a wide open Wednesday edition of the program where you are the show host. Gotta like that. You're the show producer. Whatever you'd like to discuss, 766-9480, 766-9480. Maybe it's something that is not being discussed enough. Not being discussed at all. 766-9480, 766-9480. Well, I've got a trio of $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates. 50 big bucks to one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spas. Pick your poison. The one that's most convenient to you. Mid-City, New Orleans, Metairie near North Kenner, Slidell, Mandeville, Baton Rouge. This is a holdover question from early last week. For over 50 years, 51 years, a New Orleans iconic structure. It recently had a name change a few years ago. We knew it as one thing for like 47 years of its life. An iconic structure, huge. And a few years ago, a name change. It has been providing information to New Orleans for over 185 years, news for over 185 years. In the mid-1880s, it was considered the largest building in the world. If you have the answer to any of those 3 questions, I've got 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse. 766-9480, 766-9480. We head to Kennebra, where they land some rather large aircraft at a state-of-the-art facility. Larry, what's happening in Kennebra?
Hey, Corey, thank you for taking my call, buddy. I think you hit the nail on the head when you asked Dale Vinson to pitch in. I think the name is Tom Benson Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, what is it, Benson Field at Yeoman Stadium for Tulane. You've got Tom Benson Stadium at the Hall of Fame for the NFL up in, Ohio. Yeah, I obviously they'd have to be into it, Larry, but I think it's right next door to their facility. I think, Gail Benson Field or, Saints Field or something like that.
Street where the stadium is, it says Tom Benson Way.
Yep.
So what idea would it be to have the Saints facility and Tom Benson Field?
Yep.
That'd be a good idea. I love your show, Corey.
Yeah, you're right. Thanks, Larry. Thank you very much. That's Larry and Ken are dialing us up. Thank you very much for watching, listening, and participating, Larry. Yeah, I wish that, Airline Drive in front of the Saints facility, I think that should be Tom Benson Way. I think Tom Benson should have a little bit more of a street than that extension of Elise that, kind of crosses over Airline into the Saints world, into the LaSalle tract, into the Saints facility. That main road in is basically the extension of Elise, from the north going south towards the river. Yeah, that is Tom Benson Way. I think the Saints training facility should be the Jim Finks Saints training facility, named after the first GM. I think that road leading in should be Jim Mora Drive. Because without Tom Benson, Jim Finks, and Jim Mora, that training facility might not even be there. And I think Tom Benson deserves more than just the extension of Elise. That's a perfect for like Jim Mora Drive, Jim Finks training facility on Tom Benson Way. Tom Benson Way should be about a mile stretch or so in front of the Saints facility on Airline Highway. And ideally, the state, the feds, Gail Benson, ideally, you get some money put together and you make it a fantastic boulevard right there in front of the Saints facility. Maybe a big, a neutral ground with plants and landscaping on either side, trees and bushes and flowers and plants. Just make it look really, really high-end and nice. They changed it from Airline Highway to Airline Drive to try to soften it. It's like Bridge City going to Fairfield, changing that name to soften it from caustic-sounding Bridge City, I guess. The Industrial Canal is the Industrial Waterway now. Try to soften it a little, make it better. It's already Airline Drive. Make it Airline Boulevard right there. Make it Tom Benson Way. Anyway, no, thank you for the phone call. It's a great idea, but it's also like, hey, Larry and Kenner, we want you to put up the money and pay for the state, Gail Benson's a billionaire worth what, north of $5 billion? So you can sit there and go, oh, it's no big deal. But money's all relative. You don't just throw money at anything. You want to think things through. The Saints do that. They do their due diligence. They don't just hook their name on anything. But boy, since Gail Benson got involved in Tom Benson's life a decade plus ago, Tom Benson went from not giving a lot away to giving a lot away. Brother Martin, Jesuit, Stewart Hall School, the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, the stadium, Yeoman Stadium, the field. I go on and on. The Cancer Center at Oshner on River Road. Can go on and on and on. I'm barely scratching the surface. Getting the what do you call the thing you put on someone's chest to jolt them? Defibrillator. You remember she bought a few hundred of those for Nord and Jefferson Parish playgrounds and stadiums. Like, spent a few $100,000 on defibrillators. I mean, yeah, Gail Benson's a blessing. Tom Benson was kind of a curmudgeon. He wasn't like throwing the cash everywhere. Gail Benson came into his life and was like, what's that, Blue Boy? You've got billions and billions of dollars. Give a lot of it away. Be like Bill Goldring, philanthropist for this city. 5 o'clock power hour coming your way next. It is a wide open Wednesday. Don't move.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson
On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 5 p.m.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River Cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Here's New Orleans native son, Corey Johnson.
New Orleans City Councilman Freddie King joins us.
So I want to first say thanks for having me. And believe it or not, man, I used to listen to your show all the time driving home. So it's an honor to be on.
Freddie, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on the program. Thanks.
The official afternoon talk show of the city of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Attention, Chris Rock. Say something about my wife again, especially a G.I. Jane joke because of her alopecia problem. And I promise you, I will walk up on the stage and I will open hand slap you across the face.
In West Philadelphia,
shocking.
Born and raised on the playground is where I spent most of my days.
Will Smith's a pretty solid actor, too. Pretty good. Ali was fantastic. Fantastic.
Making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight and my mom got scared and said,
Yeah, you right. We're not on Broadway. You're on the neutral ground in New Orleans. Well, it could be like on Broadway in Clavens, Broadway in St. Charles, Broadway in the river. Yeah, you right. Wide open Wednesday. Repeat, wide open Wednesday. It is not Monday. It is Wednesday. Happy 4th of July extended holiday. That went quickly. A lot of you folks taking Monday and Tuesday off, returning to work today. Some of you, the holiday continues through the weekend. See you next week. I hear you. Hey, the 5 o'clock power hour on this wide open Wednesday, brought to you by Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets. New Orleans-inspired Italian and Sicilian. You will not be disappointed. They opened their doors 7 minutes ago for dinner. They'll roll till 9 p.m. tonight. Sit at the bar. Sit inside the restaurant. Get a to-go order. Some of the city's best Sicilian and Italian. Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets. Tonight, dinner till 9 p.m. Fausto's on Vets. Did I mention Wide Open Wednesday? Did I mention Happy 4th of July holiday? How about Essence Fest 2023 in the books? I'd say it went off without a hitch, except this Essence Clean Zone. Wow. Unbelievable. Shocking. Ask folks like Baldwin and Company or Tamkia Newhouse or Delphine Legacy Media or Lit Diaries LLC. These are all local folks. Some businesses in a set location, others with a pop-up tent. That Essence Fest issued a cease and desist letter to for using the Essence trademark to promote, kind of hitching their wagon to the Essence Festival. Yeah, it's called Direct Economic Impact, Essence, Indirect Economic Impact. Folks like I just mentioned, Tamkia Newhouse, Baldwin and Company, Delphine Legacy Media, Lit Diaries LLC. This Essence Clean Zone, just mind-blowing. From like Broad Street to the river, from the Mississippi River to Broad Street. How far is Broad from the river? About 3 miles? About 2 or 3 miles, at least 2+. 3 miles? And then from Elysian Fields to Earhart. This is a gigantic area. This is, I don't know, 15 square miles? 10, 12, 15 square miles of the city, like Marigny, Bywater, French Quarter, CBD, Warehouse District, beyond the Superdome and the Convention Center. Essence Clean Zone, where only Essence can make money, not any local New Orleans-owned business. Thank God this is Essence Festival, because if this was Voodoo Fest denying black businesses an opportunity to make a profit, it would have been racism, it would have been black and white, it would have been all that. But since it's Essence Fest, black on black, it's just stupid and dopey. And that's how it is a lot of the time. That's how it is a lot of the time. But we love injecting race or sex or homosexuality or anything into it to get away from the facts and reality. Essence Clean Zone. I don't see that happening again. Tomorrow, the OPCD board meeting will take place, or an OPCD board meeting. The one about Tyrell Harris, the executive director. Does he stay or go? One board member, Dr. Brobson Lutz, says Tyrell Morris has to go. Helena Moreno, J.P. Morrell, a letter to the OPCD board saying Tyrell Morris has to go. State lawmakers are even attending. Representatives Amy Freeman and Mandy Landry and Stephanie Hilferty, they're attending because they're concerned about Tyrell Morris and the ineptness and criminal activity of the Orleans Parish Communications District. That meeting should be interesting tomorrow. Yet Tyrell Morris has to go. It's obvious. And, of course, the mayor doubling down. So important. He needs to stay. Why the September 15th date? You know, I just assumed kind of like Morales with the sheriff's department. Kristen Morales, Susan Hudson's buddy, sticking around month after month after month when she was supposed to resign 3 to 6 months ago. But every month she stays on. It's $13,000 a month. That's a lot of cash. 3 months, $40,000. Every quarter, $40,000. Morales makes $155,000 a year doing nothing. That's Hudson's pal, friend, former roommate. They're buddies. They're pals. She's keeping her on when she was supposed to resign months ago at $13,000 a month. Think about that. Doing nothing. No responsibilities, not allowed to enter the sheriff's complex. So I just simply thought, just kind of being vanilla and basic, that Tyrell Morris and the mayor keeping him on through the summer, a way to earn tens of thousands of dollars more before September 15th. Then a pretty savvy caller last week called the program and was like, what's the significance of the September 15th date? Does this person hit a milestone in time working for the city and it's about retirement or something? Always taking care of the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many, us, all the time, always. Aren't you tired of that? Black, white, Republican, Democrat, New Orleanian, live elsewhere in the state. Aren't you tired of these hack politicians, black, white, Republican, Democrat, selling us out? This Alario, Bill Jefferson, Edwin Edwards mentality. Jeff Landry, doesn't matter, Republican or Democrat. The needs of the few, me and my family and friends, outweigh you losers that are going to vote me into office. I'm going to say what I need to say to get you guys foaming at the mouth and voting for me. Usually nothing positive or I'm going to help you, but the other person sucks. The other person sucks, nothing to help you, and you're going to vote for me. And that's how I'm going to get into office. And then when I get into office, it's kind of the John Alario rape and pillage mentality. Steal everything that's not hammered down, Heitmeyer mentality. Edwin Edwards, Bill Jefferson. I don't know what's wrong with this. 40 plus years of this crap isn't enough. Going to keep voting for the losers over and over and over and over again. Not believable. A Metairie couple fights to keep their natural plant garden, nature plant garden. Some folks would go, it's weeds, especially when the wildflowers aren't blooming. Some folks would say it doesn't fit in the neighborhood. Some folks would say these folks are like hippies and they need to clean up their yard. It's a tough call. I get it. But also I get the freedom. You own a house. You should be able to do certain things. But where's the line drawn? Can you park the Mardi Gras float in the side yard all year long? Can you park the school bus in the driveway? Can you park the 18-wheeler in the side yard? The RV under a big cover? Because you're too cheap or tight to rent the place. The big boat in the yard all year long, except the 3 days you take it out on the water. Too cheap to rent I don't know. The rental facility to put the boat. Is that right? Wrong? Dually trucks with stickers on them, wrapped with the company logo. Should those be allowed in neighborhoods? Trucks with racks with ladders. I can go on and on and on this. It depends on the neighborhood. Socioeconomics. Is there a neighborhood association, covenants in place? Is there any legal things in place? So now I get it. You buy a house, you own a house, you expect certain things. But also I think you own a house, you buy a house, you live in a certain neighborhood, socioeconomic level. That's what you can expect. That's what you can expect. Corey Johnson with you on a Wednesday. Yeah, you right. Every day we broadcast live from the Buddy Diliberto River City's Total Maintenance Studios. River City's Total Maintenance, your air conditioning experts. Your AC needs help? NOLAAC.com. You need AC help? NOLAAC.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet. Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store, and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, "Hey, what can I do to give you a hand?" He said, "Well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place." So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
River City's Total Maintenance keeps you cool. River City's Total Maintenance keeps you cool. River City's Total Maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. River City's Total Maintenance keeps you cool. NOLAAC.com, your cool spot. Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh la Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants, Leidenheimer French bread.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
That sounds like a little Sonny Landreth from Cajun Country, Lafayette. Eric Clapton said one of the greatest guitarists in the world. Eric Clapton thinks Lafayette Sonny Landreth that you're listening to right now is a better guitar player than him. Yeah, you right. Wide Open Wednesday edition of the program. You're the show producer. Hey, I've got a holdover trio of $50 Woodhouse Day Spa trivia questions. 3 of them from last week. If I can find them. Here we go. A New Orleans iconic structure for 51 years now. We knew it by one name for about 45, 46 years or so of its existence. Only one name, pun intended. And now it has a different name. 51 years old. That's kind of a pun too, 51. New Orleans iconic structure. Give me the name of that iconic structure, which recently had a name change since 1972. Give me the name. I got 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse Day Spa, one of 5 area locations. Rouse's Market's phone lines to participate, 766-9480. You got answers? I got 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse. 50 big bucks. 766-9480. They've been providing information to New Orleanians for over 185 years. News and information to New Orleanians since 1837. Wow. Hey, in the mid-1880s, it was considered the largest building in the world. If you have the answer to any of those 3 questions, I got 50 big bucks for you at the Woodhouse. Iconic structure. 51 years old in New Orleans. Huge. Recently had a name change. Been providing information to New Orleanians since 1837. In the mid-1880s, it was considered the largest building in the world. You have the answer to any of those 3 questions. I've got $50 for you at the Woodhouse Day Spa. To book a massage or pedicure, manicure, facial, a day of relaxation, WoodhouseSpas.com. WoodhouseSpas.com. 5 area locations to serve you. Mid-City, New Orleans, Metairie near North Kenner, Mandeville, Slidell on the North Shore, Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana. WoodhouseSpas.com to book an appointment. Wide Open Wednesday edition of the program. Happy 4th of July holiday. Essence Festival. I'd say it went off without a hitch unless you were a black-owned business that fell within the Essence Clean Zone. Who came up with this nonsense? And talk about the size of the clean zone. From Broad Street to the river? Really? What's that, about 3 miles? From Earhart to Elysian Fields? What's that, about 3 miles? What's this, 10, 12 square miles in the city? Businesses, black-owned businesses, accused of using the Essence trademark to promote. They were issued cease and desist letters by Essence. Baldwin and Company, Tamkia Newhouse, Delphine Legacy Media, Lit Diaries LLC, just to name a few. I'm sure there were others. Metairie couple fights to keep their native plant garden, sort of wildflowers and the like, in their front yard. Other neighbors think it's just unkept weeds. What do you say? Joey Chestnut wins another hot dog eating contest. I think there is something just egregiously wrong with food eating contests. I think it's just sinful. I think it's disrespectful. There are people that are starving in other parts of the world. We already waste and throw away so much food in America. We're going to have food eating contests. I think it's disgusting. You have any problem with it? It's all in good fun. A bag of cocaine found at the White House. Apparently some visitor on a tour maybe dropped it when they felt they were going to go through some security check coming up. Maybe that was the thought of that. Although Fox News tonight, a Hunter Biden special. Buffa's on Esplanade was closing. Now they're not because of a surge in business when they announced they're closing. It's kind of like the Oriental Rug Store, always closing. They need something new over there at Buffa's if they want to survive. Can't just keep going with what you had because in 3 to 6 months, they'll be closing. Let's head to the phone lines. Rouse's Markets phone lines. 766-9480. 766-9480. We head to Kennebra. Larry joins us on the program.
The tallest building, Corey, would that be the Landmark or the foot of Canal Street?
What do you mean the tallest building? Was I asking for the tallest building?
Yeah.
Iconic structure. What are you saying? The Landmark at the foot of Canal Street? What's that?
At the foot of Canal Street.
The Four Seasons, the World Trade Center?
Yeah.
Yep. Larry, that is a good guess. You're going down the right path, sort of. A little warm, but incorrect.
Yeah, you wrong.
Larry, what do you think about the Metairie family that has a native garden growing in their yard? Instead of grass, they have like wildflowers. And when they're blooming, it looks fine. When they're not, it looks like they just refuse to cut their grass. Should that be allowed or not?
I think you should, Corey. If you own your property, you do what you want with it. As long as you ain't breaking no laws.
As long as you're not breaking laws.
I want to say something that you said a while ago. Between Clearview Parkway and David Drive ought to be Tom Benson Way with neutral ground flowers and trees and a big statue of Mr. Benson in front of this place.
That's a good, you're talking Airline Highway in between Clearview and David Drive.
And David Drive, yes, sir. That'd be a good spot for Tom Benson Way.
And Larry, selfishly, for people like you and me, that's a good stretch that needs a leg up. It's ugly. It looks like 1950 through there in some parts. You know what I mean?
It does, especially right across the street from the facility, that the hotel. They need to do something with that.
No, the hotel needs to go. That shopping center could use a little facelift, although they've done some facelifting to it. But yeah, I think more plants and trees and neutral ground stuff, landscaping, a boulevard. You know, Tom Benson Way. I think you're right on the money, Larry. I'm in 110% agreement. Airline Highway in between Clearview and David Drive.
Yes, sir. I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, I
you're
agree.
thinking the same.
Yep.
Love your show, Corey.
Yeah, you're right, Larry. Thanks for the call and Kenner. Larry's right on the money. I mean, I am in total agreement with Larry on that. Tom Benson Way, the extension of a lease into the Saints facility, Jim Mora Drive. The Saints training facility should be the Jim Finks training facility. There's time for Sean Payton. Mickey Loomis is still active and still young. There's time for those guys in that era. Corey Johnson with you. Wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Happy 4th of July holiday. Hope you had a good extended one. Essence Fest 2023 in the books. You know, if you look at this program on TV or YouTube, You'll see I'm surrounded by Lamarck Ford, Lamarck Lincoln. You want to know why? Because this entire program on radio, television, YouTube, it's brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex. That's Lamarck Ford, #1 Ford dealership in the region. That's Lamarck Lincoln, #1 Lincoln dealership in the state of Louisiana. And then you go across the parish out by the river, Crescent City Ford, that truck and SUV dealership, is now under the Lamarck umbrella. That's right. Every day, this program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex and now Lamarck Crescent City Ford on Jefferson Highway. Hey, TV audience, we say adios until mañana. See you at 4 tomorrow. Radio audience, you folks checking us out on YouTube, live streaming, KaareTalks.com. We seamlessly continue until 6 p.m. on this wide open Wednesday. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480, 766-9480. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed a lot. Councilman Scott Walker joined us talking about major renovations, major overhaul to Zephyr Field, Zephyr Stadium. Back to the phone lines we go. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. That's how Chuck in New Orleans dialed us up. What up, Chuck?
I don't know. I'm trying to think if I guess the Dixie Brewery building on Tulane. Is that the name change of the 51-year-old building?
I would think that Dixie Brewery building's got to be closer to like 100 years old, wouldn't you think?
Probably.
Maybe
I'm
like,
just giving it a guess.
Yeah, a little older.
I know he used to drink across the street from Dixie at
the train bar, Nick's.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yep. Every time the train went by, it was like 50-cent shots or something like that, wasn't it?
Something like that, and you can go sit on the beer cases inside the bar. It was a good place.
Yep, Nick's Big Train Bar.
Yeah, they also had a gun that they put on display. They said, "Look, don't mess around with this place."
Yep. No, exactly. We'll grab this and shoot.
Well, that's the only guess I can come up with, Dixie. But I was thinking it was older than 51 years.
Yep, that's a good guess, Chuck, but incorrect.
Yeah, you wrong.
Hey, Chuck, a couple of questions for you. This Metairie couple keeping to fight their native plant garden. You know, they got like 3-foot high wildflowers in their yard. Like there's no grass. That's the yard. When they're blooming, I guess it's pretty. When they're not, it looks like overgrown weeds. Everyone else has, a regular lawn. I guess some folks cut it, every 5, 6, 7 days in the summer. Some folks probably neglect their yard for a few weeks and, they have to cut it when it's really high. This is beyond that, but it's their choice. And when they're wildflowers, they're pretty. There's no denying that. Should that be allowed, or is it sort of a menace to the neighborhood, like brings down housing value?
Yeah, I don't know. Corey, I'd have to see it because I think about a neighborhood that I might live in that might have something like that, might look really bad.
Yep.
But then when they're like you said, when they're in bloom, it might look okay.
No, so, and that's a hell of a point too. This is kind of just your regular-ish neighborhood, kind of like where I would live. I live, in just sort of a, I don't know, middle-class-ish neighborhood, working-class neighborhood. It's not a rich neighborhood. As a matter of fact, I'm not kidding you. At the end of my block, the dude drives an 18-wheeler and he has it parked in his side yard in my neighborhood. So that's the kind of neighborhood I live in. I don't like that necessarily, but the guy's a really nice guy. He's a hardworking guy. I respect him. And then I think about the price point in my neighborhood. Some neighborhoods wouldn't allow that, obviously. I mean, in Old Metairie or Uptown or Chateau Estates maybe, or English Turn, that, there are covenants in place. You can't have like a dually truck with ladders on it, on a rack parked overnight, or a truck with decals, or a school bus, or a Mardi Gras float, or an 18-wheeler, or even like fencing, Chuck. You can't put up like a 6-foot fence and I put up a 4-foot. They have to be like, you choose from 3 different fences. You choose from 3 different paint colors for the house. Some neighborhoods have different covenants in place. Some have none. I think it's a socioeconomic thing,
Right. I think so too. But as far as the garden goes, when I read the article, I was thinking, well, maybe I ought to do that to my front yard, so I don't have to cut the grass.
And then some folks astroturf the yard. I'm like, should that be legal or not? Does that look good or bad? It's just,
well, I tell you, it all depends on what I mean, I have some people in my family that have that, and it looks great. I mean, it really looks great.
Is it, is it like the Walmart stuff they just bought in a roll, or they hired a company that brought in this, artificial turf?
Yeah, they hired somebody to come bring it. It's just a small front yard. They put a picket fence around the front, and they planted a garden around the fence. But the rest of the yard is just grass, and believe me, it's not bad.
No, a buddy of mine did it in his backyard. And I told him, like, dude, why didn't you just punch some golf holes in that? And we could have had some putting going down back there. Probably
they did have a guy on the canal there going into Metairie. They used to have a putting green on it as his front yard.
Yeah. Yeah, they have those, and it's fake grass, but they're very true, and they roll like a real green. And I'm sure folks that have that luxury, they get better at their short game at golf. Hey, one more thing, Chuck, before I let you go. Yes. Joey Chestnut, I got nothing against this guy. Seems like a very affable, nice guy. It's amazing. He can put down 51 hot dogs. I've been to food eating contests and stuff before. I'm just not a big fan of it. I just think there's something morally wrong with it. I think it's kind of sinful behavior if you have a faith. There are people that are hungry around the world. We're having food eating contests in America. And then, I don't know, am I just totally overreacting?
Well, here's the deal. I mean, they figured that, they killed probably a few hundred hot dogs that day. And I think it's not going to be more than maybe a drop in the bucket. I wouldn't be surprised if Nathan's Hot Dogs probably contributes to worthwhile causes.
Oh, I'm sure that's a hell of a good point. They get a spike in their business and people are buying those hot dogs and eating them.
Yeah.
And not 51 at a time. No, I get that part. I never thought about that angle of it.
Yeah.
No, they're definitely contributing.
Yeah, but I just looking at it, I'm amazed he can just shove that many hot dogs down his throat. I mean, in 10 minutes, I can eat one.
No, exactly. Plus, just obviously, they're not even all that chewed up. And it's just his stomach can stretch to hold that many hot dogs and buns. And then I'm assuming it's to a big garbage can in the back and the finger down the throat, huh?
You got me, but I wouldn't want to be around those guys the next day or so. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Lord, man.
Boy, you're right.
But, as far as I'm concerned, to each his own. If they want to, get their kicks doing that one day a year, it's fine.
Yeah. I'm not like protesting or losing my mind over it.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's just something to think about, a different angle.
Yeah, exactly, Chuck. That's exactly
all right. Well, look, maybe you hold over these questions for another day, and I'll try to work my gray matter, see if I can come up with an answer.
Chuck, thank you, man.
All right, have a good day.
You too. That's Chuck in New Orleans joining us. He dialed us up via the Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480, 504-766-9480. The gray matter. Chuck was talking about some trivia questions. For over 50 years. It's now 51 years old. Pun intended. 51 has something to do with it. A New Orleans iconic structure for like 47 years of its 51. It went under one name. One, did I say? Another slip of the tongue? And then about 3-4 years ago, a name changed. A name change to this New Orleans iconic structure. They've been providing information to citizens in New Orleans since 1837. Name this entity. In the mid-1880s, it was considered the largest building in the world. If you have the answer to any of those three questions, I got 50 big bucks for you. Good at the Woodhouse Day Spa. 5 area locations: Mid-City, New Orleans, Metairie near North Kenner, Mandeville, Slidell, Baton Rouge. Rouse's Markets phone lines to participate: 766-9480, 766-9480. It's already Wednesday. It'll be Friday soon enough. That'll mean Michael Heck from Greater New Orleans Inc. joining us. That segment's always brought to you by Latrim. the global manufacturing giant. Latrum's hiring. You want to be part of that culture of innovation? Go to their website, latrum.com. Latrum spelled Laitram, latrum.com for a full listing of positions available. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed Councilman Scott Walker from Jefferson Parish. Talked about a bunch of stuff, including major renovations, a major overhaul to Zephyr Field, going from a minor league baseball stadium to no more baseball at all, ever, to a football complex primarily, a soccer complex, rugby, lacrosse, rectangular shape. Very, very little demolition to the existing stadium. Just some minor demolition to add on the new part they're going to build so it ceases ever looking like a minor league baseball park and looks strictly like a multi-purpose football, soccer, lacrosse, rugby type of stadium. Scott Walker joined us last hour to discuss that. We were talking about the 4th of July holiday. Essence Fest 2023 seemed to go well, except for this Essence Clean Zone. The politicians in New Orleans, I mean, how would they agree to this? Hey, let's screw over primarily black local business owners that are trying to make some money during Essence Fest. No different from when anyone local tries to make money from Jazz Fest, French Quarter Festival, anything like that. Instead, the city just bending over backwards for Essence for no apparent reason. This Essence Clean Zone, where only Essence really can make money off of the Essence Festival and local businesses really can't. The Essence Clean Zone, it's crazy. From the river to Broad Street, from Elysian Fields to Earhart. Some local businesses, primarily black-owned businesses, maybe all of them black-owned. Baldwin and Company, a bookstore, Tamkia Newhouse, Delphine Legacy Media, Lit Diaries, LLC, just to name a few, were issued cease and desist letters by Essence Festival during the 4 or 5 days of 4th of July holiday, the 4 days of Essence Festival, using Essence's trademark to promote their business. Wow. Wow. Why would there be an Essence Clean Zone to begin with? What politician came up with this gimmick? Could there have been some, I don't want to disparage Essence because I don't know anything about their reputation. I would have to assume Essence is a righteous corporation and company run by righteous people. I would have to assume that. The city of New Orleans politically is an unsavory situation. So I don't know if some underling at Essence put money under the table to some hack politician in New Orleans to get this Essence Clean Zone. All I know is Essence and the city of New Orleans alienated a lot of black business owners doing this. So Essence almost going off without a hitch, but New Orleans politics rearing its ugly head, agreeing to this Essence Clean Zone, and in the process, stifling some locally owned black businesses in New Orleans where they were trying to make some money while, tens of thousands, if not north of 100,000 tourists rolled into town. Tomorrow, the OPCD, the Orleans Parish Communication District's board, will hold a meeting. It's about Tyrell Morris, the executive director. State lawmakers, some state lawmakers, a trio of representatives will attend. They're concerned. One board member of the OPCD, Dr. Brobson Lutz, says Morris needs to go. Helena Moreno, J.P. Morrell of the City Council, president, vice president, respectively, Tyrell Morris has to go. Mayor LaToya Cantrell doubling down. We need him. He's staying through September 15th. Someone needs to find out the significance of the September 15th date and how it applies to Tyrell Morris. Is he hitting a certain number of years working for the city where he gets a boosted retirement or what? Have to figure that one out. Best quality, best price, best selection. They're in your neighborhood, at worst, right next door to your neighborhood. I'm talking about Rouse's Markets. Over 60 Rouse's in Southeast Louisiana and New Orleans. Southern Mississippi, Southern Alabama, too. Over 60 stores, over 60 years. South Louisiana's baby. They know what they're doing. New Orleans grocery store. There are over 20 Rouse's in Metro New Orleans. More than a third of all Rouse's Markets are in Metro New Orleans. Taking care of you. Rouse's Markets taste like home.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson.
Women are often throwing clothing items at me saying you're the possessor of the cool factor. I have to fight off the ladies.
90 minutes of fun every weekday afternoon on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333 from 4 p.m. to 5:30.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home. From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Hi, everyone. It's Tommy Wrong for AsbestosMoneyGrab.com. This is not, I repeat, not for folks with real asbestos problems. But if you're like me and were maybe taking a shop class in high school where you maybe breathed in some brake dust and you know for certain you're fine, but you're the type of person that takes advantage of these types of situations, get tested, lawyer up, and steal some money like me. Go to I'm not really hurt at all, but like exploiting the system for free cash.com.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
I don't think that's Kermit. It is? Wow. I thought it was going to be your boy Shannon or whatever. Anyway, Corey Johnson with you. It is Kermit Ruffins. Yeah, you right. Wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Still have a trio of $50 Woodhouse Day Spa trivia questions, which means I've got a trio of $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificates available. For 51 years, a New Orleans iconic structure. Just a few short years ago, they had a name change to this iconic structure. 51 years. That number 51 has a connection to this iconic structure. It had one name for about 47 of its 51 years. One has a connection to this iconic structure. That's a lot of hints. Rouse's Markets phone line, 766-9480. 766-9480. They've been providing information to New Orleanians since 1837. Rouse's Markets phone lines, 766-9480. In the mid-1880s, it was considered the largest building in the world. I think a hurricane of 1898 destroyed this building. 766-9480. You got answers to any of those three questions? I got $50 for you. Good at one of the 5 area Woodhouse Day Spa locations. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. Hope you had a good, happy 4th of July holiday. Essence Fest 2023 in the books. Essence Clean Zone causing problems for local Black-owned businesses. Essence Festival seems like they're being greedy. The city of New Orleans hack politicians. Either one of two things, making a bad decision or getting something of value for this decision. This Essence Clean Zone essentially keeps all the business to Essence. You cannot piggyback on Essence in any way. Apparently, Baldwin and Company, Tamkia Newhouse, Delphine Legacy Media, Lit Diaries LLC, some local Black-owned businesses, many paying $450 to rent a little tent space, use the Essence trademark to promote their business while they're at Essence Festival, essentially. This Essence Clean Zone where you can't connect your business to Essence Fest goes from Broad Street to the river, or from the river to Broad Street. What is that, like 3 miles? And then from Elysian Fields to Earhart. What's that, like another 3 miles? 10, 12 square mile area that's off limits to Black-owned businesses. It's all for Essence Fest. Just ill-conceived, if not crooked, illegal, and not a benefit to local Black-owned businesses. Just a really screwed up situation. Speaking of screwed up situation, tomorrow, the Orleans Parish Communication District's board will meet. Executive Director Tyrell Morris, who is resigning September 15th, the mayor hell-bent on keeping him on all summer long. The board's meeting to possibly oust him. Some state lawmakers are going to attend because they're concerned. Helena Moreno, J.P. Morrell, letters to the board saying, fire this guy already. Apparently, one board member, Dr. Brobson Lutt, says Morris needs to go. We'll see what happens tomorrow. The mayor, hell-bent on keeping this guy. And hopefully someone asks about the significance of the September 15th resignation date. Is it just an arbitrary date? Is it something cheesy and petty, like let me get a few months of extra pay? Or is it something larger than that, like some date of reaching X amount of years as a City of New Orleans employee and something to do with retirement money? Why the September 15th date? What's the significance of that? Scott Walker joined us last hour, Councilman Jefferson Parish, to talk about major renovations and overhaul to Zephyr Field. It is Wednesday night. How about a little Trey Yen, you North Shore folks? You can get curbside delivery, pull right in front. They'll walk it right out to your car, a big to-go order, or dine inside. Some of the best Chinese cuisine in America, one of the best seafood restaurants in Metro New Orleans. You South Shore folks, it's just a short 25-minute ride from Lakeside Mall. Trey Yen in Mandeville, so good. Buffa's Lounge on Esplanade, announcing they were closing, outpouring of support. They're now saying we're staying open. I don't know, unless you come up with something new, some new gimmick, you're just delaying the inevitable. You will be closing in 3 to 6 months. Folks are bummed when something closes. We reach out to help, but is it sustainable if nothing new or, something doesn't change? There's a reason people weren't going. Cocaine found at the White House. Why do I think Fox News and Hunter Biden will mention the cocaine all in one? Fox News will mention Hunter Biden and cocaine in some story tonight, I would think. I believe my guess would be some tourist had it in their pocket, worried about some security search, and just dropped it. What's that, Blue Boy? Wide Open Wednesday. We'll see everyone tomorrow on Thursday.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.